Today, it's Edwin's Monday evening property rant. Hello again, it's Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics. Welcome to our latest post covering finance and property news with a distinctively Australian flavour. Today I'm joined by Edwin Almeida, our property insider. Hey Edwin.
G'day Martin, how you going? I hope you've watched my TikTok videos.
I know, what's this about running off to TikTok?
Oh, look mate, you got to just get it all out there, put it all out there. So you got to expose yourself, Martin. Just expose yourself. The more you expose yourself, the more views you get, the more inquiry, I guess. I know the more property prices go up, I'm imagining.
Well, yes, I mean, there is expose yourself and then there's expose yourself. Well, just be careful.
Well, yeah. Well, we don't want to get caught with your pants down, as they say. But look, it's an interesting platform. I thought I'd jump on there, and I think I've got 20 or 21 followers already. I mean, breaking new grounds, Martin. And one of the videos has got something like 13,000 views. I can't believe it. People are interested in property so much. Yeah, this extension looks like it's council approved, or maybe not. Yeah, this extension looks like it's council approved, or maybe not.
Well, it's pretty amazing. But anyway, we'll show the most recent one. Very funny, though it is. Although weird, it's got sort of funny, flashy things going through it. I don't know what that's about.
Oh, look, TikTok's got, I think it's a great platform. Everything that's on it, I'm still learning. That was just some of my beginnings of the editing. There's a lot of stuff on there. It's only one of the younger generation love TikTok. It's you can do all sorts of things with the video. So I've got it now. Attend classes dance classes. I think because I'm not funny enough.
Well, no, that's right, because you've only got a very small window, haven't you, on TikTok to make it all happen.
Yeah, look, 1 minute. It's like a hot auction, down in Melbourne in the block. 1 minute auctions. So where you go from naught to 3.5 million in under a minute.
Right. Well, yeah, you mentioned the block. What happened there?
Well, Lindsay David loves the block. He loves watching the block, and he's been tweeting out that some crazy person, buyer's agent, was putting in bids of $500,000 at a time. Go figure. My buyers only let me put in $5,000 bids at a time, and this guy's down in Melbourne. They've got money to burn. Martin, they've really got money to burn down there.
Well, maybe they just got the decimal point in the wrong place. That seems a bit weird.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. And we're also going to see some, people here in Sydney. Well, look, in Melbourne, they go crazy with the block. And up here in Sydney, we go crazy with kitchens. We're going to see a short video of a place with a kitchen in the sunroom. They couldn't, and they were in plans of fitting in a kitchen in the garage before COVID hit. So go figure.
Kitchens squared or kitchens cubed. So we'll discuss that a bit later. But before we do that, Edwin, let's talk about an email. I actually had one of my followers send me an email they received from one of their agents. And frankly, I think it's an interesting and pretty disgraceful piece.
Look, it is. Let's unpack it anyway. And when you I read through the email, and you're one of your followers, obviously a viewer of this channel, was able to also articulate how they felt. Not only how they felt, but it's a very sober interpretation of what they see is happening out there in the marketplace in real terms, real live. Data or scenarios, as opposed to delayed data that we often get from the mainstream media and is fed into the main population. So it is interesting. So let's go ahead and let's unpack what the email says.
Well, look, the first part of it is basically, you mustn't miss out. You've really got to do something. It's stupid waiting for prices to fall, etc., etc. That's sort of where it starts off.
Well, isn't that the mantra that all the spruikers put out there? I think that's a national anthem for most of the spruikers. Do it now. Get yourself in hot water now, because the market's lukewarm, and you don't need to worry about finances or lifestyles later on. And leverage off not only one property, leverage off that. In I think the email alluded to, in 3 months you can then refinance and then go again and again and again. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens, as the email alluded to, as to what happens when all the stimulus is lifted with regards to JobKeeper and everything else that the government's thrown in. And we know that look, potentially it's meant to be lifted in March next year, but who knows how far the government's going to kick this can down the road.
Well, that's right. But the quote here: when they realise their budget is no longer buying today what it could 3 months ago, buyers are always cynical until they start missing out. So, this is the same old spruik, isn't it? That prices are going up religiously. You're going to miss out if you don't jump in straight away. That is just so simplistic and, frankly, misinformed.
Look, that's right. How many times have we heard, Martin, buy in WA because things are hot, and I recall when people were dragged over to WA something like 8, 9, 10 years ago, and they put all the super in properties there that we in townships on the outskirts of Perth, where the one trick pony towns where they were getting $800, $900 a week rent for $500, $600,000 properties, and what are they worth now? And they're vacant. I think the only things that walk around those towns are tumbleweeds. Then you've got the spruikers that took a lot of people over to the Red Plains, I think, from memory, Ipswich, and Logan City, and all these areas up there. I've got friends that bought in Queensland 10 years ago. Their properties are still worth not much more than what they paid for 10 years ago, except the difference is that when they bought those properties, they were about 10, 15 years old. Now they're 25 years old, and they've got all sorts of issues because they were built on floodplains, on over areas where the ground subsided and the like, and so they're up for a lot of maintenance and repairs. So look, you just got to be careful where you buy. And needless to say, then there was a stage where you needed to get into off the plan apartments here in Sydney and likewise in Melbourne. Look and see what's happened to that. So it's property that people that see property as a game or as a casino, well, you're going to get burnt. 50% are going to get burnt. Just you better hope and pray that you're not the 50%. That do get burnt.
Yeah, Edwin. But as this particular buyer said, snooze you lose.
Yeah, well, that's right, and they also point out that you can buy. From what the email said, that you could buy a duplex, I believe in Goulbourn for $850,000, and by the time it's completed, you are going to have equity, and you're going to have a tenant that would be paying $550 a week. Let me give you a little bit of history with regards to Goulbourn, or what's happening in Goulbourn, Martin. Now, I've sent you a screenshot of a property that I'm aware of down in Goulbourn, and that property that is one solid as property. The owners have been restoring that property for something like 25 years, and it's even better than when it was first built. The actual owner is an engineer, and him and his family have done so much work to that property, and yet you can buy that for just on $750,000. And what you're going to tell me that you're going to miss out on buying a duplex that's going to get a rental return of $550 for $850, and you've got equity in there. You only have to go to real estate and see how many other properties are available in Goulbourn of lesser value, and I'm sure you can get a better return, a better outcome. Now, on top of that, that's 24 Cowper Street. Great property. Call the agent if anybody wants it. I recommend it. Go nuts. Go pay. It's worth more than $750, but hey, they're happy with $750. Yeah, you can buy a 4-bedroom dwelling, brand spanking new dwelling there in Goulbourn through a developer that I know for $670,000. And not only do you get a 4-bedroom house, solidly built house, but you also get a granny flat attached to that house, all council approved, all legal, and the dual income on those properties are around about $800 per week combined, Martin. So why would you want to buy a duplex again for $850,000 when you're only going to be getting $500 to $550 a week rent? I mean, it's that was just farcical. I mean, when I saw uh, uh, that in the email, I had no choice but to pick it to pieces.
Well, it's interesting, of course, because one of the other little comments there are, quote, these townhouses are close to selling out, and the particular agent has negotiated a deal where the purchaser receives a $5,000 rebate on settlement to your nominated account. Sounds like a bribe to me. These can be used towards your mortgage, new furniture, or even a trip to visit your purchase. Sounds a bit all desperate to me.
Oh, look, they've come and gone every other decade that I've been involved with property and these. I recall when Spruikers were taking prospective buyers, were flying them to Queensland. We're buying townhouses in Logan City. And if they bought, they got a rebate or refund of the airfare ticket back then. I mean, there are all sorts of incentives, and it's look, over the years, as I pointed out throughout all my articles, writings, and exposing the shenanigans of the industry, particularly with spruikers that have got no licenses to be accountable with. Most of these spruikers are typically financial planners and accountants that hoodwink their clients into buying overpriced property because they get a 10% clip on the other end, on the way in, and then they charge the client as well for their services. So it's no surprise. I'm surprised they're only giving back $5,000, Martin. I would have expected at least $15,000 plus a furniture package and a small Skoda in the garage
And a cuddly toy.
and a set of steak knives.
Yeah. Now let's go across to talk about kitchens, right? Because multiple kitchens seems to be the flavour of the month.
Oh, look, it's amazing what we're seeing out there, Martin. And your viewers can see the short video of as I was inspecting the property for a client, and it's just so amazing what we see out there. And these are affluent areas in Sydney, Martin. We're not talking about the wild west. We're talking about the wild northwest and and the North Shore. And look, it's obvious that these homes were illegal boarding homes, and they've got additions, inclusions, and everything else that wouldn't pass the council approvals and the like. And look, it's not the only one. One of our colleagues one of her clients has actually got 3 illegal boarding homes, and now he's trying to flog them off because they can't fill them, because obviously the Chinese students aren't coming back, and they're not going to be coming back for a very long time, and therefore most of the rooms are vacant, and he's losing hand over fist with with the repayments that they have to make. So there's no income, or very little, if any, income. And now it's trying to offload them, and I wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole.
And the point there is, of course, that many may not have council approval for multiple occupancy, and therefore, it may sound good in theory, but in practice, there are all sorts of risks.
Look, there are lots of things that that have got a high risk factor when it comes to buying property, especially if you get rushed into buying something, like in that email they alluded to a 6-bedroom dwelling with high income returns, and also there was another property that the author of the email that sent to your follower there, Martin, was also saying that there was another dwelling available that had 3 separate incomes under the one roof. Well, in New South Wales, you can only have a second dwelling under the one roof obtaining an income. So if you, I'd like to know who the property manager is that's managing that dwelling, because obviously there wouldn't be any duty of care for the tenants, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are no safety measures put in place for all the tenants, and there's probably not even any firewalls in between the dwellings either. So they become death traps, and it's only until somebody gets killed in these that action gets taken, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And, if there is an illegal operation going on, it may not be discovered, and people then suddenly trip over it later. And as you say, bad things can happen. And talking about bad things that can happen, what about the old discussion with regard to property inspections? We discussed this last week. A lot of people actually said that was great advice, but you've got another tale to tell.
Yeah, Matt, it's look, I got a lot of DMs through from Twitter, and obviously the people that watch those videos, a lot of people have sent me that they wanted to see some photos or some videos of some of the things that don't come up in the pest and building report. So I thought, hey, let's why not just show them a snapshot of a pest and building report, which they can see there. Those two paragraphs are the only two paragraphs in the pest and building report with regards to the to what's happening in the subfloor area, Martin. That's the pest and building report that's provided by the agent and by the vendor, of course. And this is what people are relying on. And this is a $2.6 million listing, Martin. Now, what they, as you can see in those following videos that you're about to post there, or that you may have already posted. You've got that's my footage. As everybody looks through all the looks upstairs through all the shiny new bench tops and shiny taps in the bathrooms and the like. I like to see what's happening under the house, apart from also looking at all the shiny stuff. Don't get me wrong. I like to see what's happening under there. So the video footage there is what's actually happening under the house. I didn't go any further in one of them because there was a lot of debris on the ground there, on the subfloor area, and a lot of it was the old fibro from the extension to the kitchen and the bathroom that was left behind. And now, obviously, anything that, as you know, and I believe your wife is putting a report with regards to asbestos and the hazards around homes with regard to asbestos and the dangers in renovating. Well, this is what the owner that, or whoever did the renovations and put that extension across, this is what they left behind under the house. So it's a toxic cesspool of asbestos, as far as I'm concerned, without even getting it properly tested. So it's a lot of debris there. There's rising damp. There's an easement running through the middle of the property, and that new wall that they built there with the blockwork there is you can already see the rising damp. Now, next to that wall, about a meter or a meter and a half from that wall is actually a water easement that that goes right across the middle of the pipe, and on top of that is a natural easement, natural flow from the hill area or the park area at the back of the house. So the house has a swimming pool, and I imagine when it rains, it not only will have a swimming pool, but it will also have a beach.
Great, perfect.
So they're all the issues, Martin. Like you've got all these things happening where in these pest and building reports that don't show anything, which is really it's mind-boggling. Now the next two videos that you'll be showing there are videos of another house in the North Shore. The expectations are around the 2.7. This house has had 3 extensions over its life. It was built in 1965. Most of the internal walls of the house are aligned with fibro. Again, I can 99.9999% sure that fibro has got asbestos, given the fact of its age that it was built. And that house was lined, roof and walls with the fibro. So it's an interesting house, but over the years it's had 3 extensions. And once again, the pest and building report does not allude to what's happening under the house, cracked piers, sunken piers, and again, a lot of seepage and moisture flowing in the subfloor area, which also creates rising damp and further issues in the future.
Yeah, and just on the asbestos, Edwin, people don't realise that just 1 or 2 fibres are sufficient to create a medical issue down the road, many years down the road. And as you say, my wife is in the process of putting up some detailed research on that, and we'll talk about more of that later. It is just shameful, frankly, the story of asbestos across Australia and indeed other places too. And what I do notice about those pest inspection reports is that generally they just use a boilerplate 3 or 4 sentences. They just pull it off a standard template and throw it out there and basically say, well, if you want more information, go check with the builder. So frankly, I wonder what you're paying for sometimes.
Well, the thing is, look, one of the things is that the pest and building reports at least have made it more available or cheaper to obtain. But again, I'll say to our viewers, don't rely on the pest and building reports that are provided by the agent or on behalf of the owner. They're going to be very very biased towards the owner, and there's going to be things that aren't going to be noted there. Get your own pest and building report and be very specific. Pay the extra, especially if you're keen on a property, especially when you're paying $1 million plus. Even if you're only paying 500,000 plus. It's still a great investment. Now, obviously, a lot of people in the past have had concerns because agents have been lowballing properties or underquoting, and hence they're being hesitant to spend money on pest and building reports, which is unfortunate. And then they rely on the ones provided by the agent on behalf of the owner, which, as opposed to paying $500 privately, they'll pay anywhere between $50 to $70 for one provided by the agent. But look, if you really want the property, if you're really keen, it's worth the investment. But obviously, there has to be a lot. The regulators have to take greater control, Martin. It's shameful what's happening there and what's being allowed to happen, and all under the guise of COVID. I mean, COVID's now being used as an excuse to get away with a lot of shenanigans. It's just incredible what's happening out there, what I'm seeing out there, and hence the reason I'm just calling them out. And that's another reason why I'm using TicTok, Martin, because I'm going to keep on loading them up on TikTok.
Oh, very, very good. And I guess it's also worth saying, that there has been a bit of a move to say, well, you don't need to go visit a property anymore. Just look at the online pictures, do a virtual walk around, and then make a bid, right? I would say that's fraught with errors, fraught with mistakes. You need to go and see it, because frankly, seeing it in the flesh and in the places that you don't want to necessarily, look at the front, go below, look in those little small corners, because that's where you often find the real information.
Yeah, look, and as I said, I'm going to be putting a lot of videos up in showing people as I do the inspections what I look for, other than the shiny new taps and the bench tops. What we look for and what our clients are looking for and get us to look is for those reasons, because they want a clearer and more detailed picture of what's going on. Now, oftentimes, even when we take our clients with us and we look at the properties together, I like to walk them through and I move furniture around, particularly if it's furniture that's backing onto walls that are party to bathrooms or shower recesses and wet areas. It's very important, and people need to see this, because the pest and building reports, the inspectors don't do that, because the poor little damsels will hurt their backs, I imagine, or they'll fall off the ladder, or they're too bloody fat to get into the subfloor areas, or all of the above, Martin. I don't know. It's just amazing what you see out there. It's a travesty. It needs to be called out, and I'd like to see more done, and more the regulators to get more involved and do something about this. It's shameful.
Yeah, I agree. Well, you may not know this, Edwin, but when I left school, I actually trained as a building surveyor. So I actually did all the courses and spent a number of years up in roof spaces and down in basements looking for things like death watch beetle and woodworm and all those things in the UK, right? And so I've got a very keen sense of how critical this is. And I have to say that most people who are buying property have no idea about this. I think the points you're making are absolutely critical.
Look, if it's just there are basic. I'm posting, as I said, on TikTok. I'm going to be posting very short videos, very quick videos, and people can see, and they won't take long. They're and they can actually get fun tips. I'll try to make them as funny as I can. Like I said, I've just booked myself into a dance school and learn a bit of dancing, and so they can be a little bit more entertaining.
Well, I shall look forward to watching them. Now, last point today: property in focus. This is an interesting one.
Look, it is. It was sent to me by one of our followers on YouTube, Martin. One of our 19 Harcourt Avenue. Now this particular property was previously sold in May 2016 for a whopping $890,000, Martin. Plus stamp duty, so add another 5% on that. That's another 40,000 plus cost and all the other ongoing issues that all the other ongoing costs over 4 years, and now we're taken to November 2020, and it just got sold over the weekend for $900,000. How do you like them apples?
Well, I can tell you what's interesting is that Cookie Boy keeps sending me examples of properties that have sold lower or at the price a number of years ago. I made a show a couple of months ago, in fact, called Property Soup to Nuts, right, to illustrate the point. We're going to have to make another show because there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of properties that I've now got in a great long list that have sold below or at the previous price. And so this belays all of those people claiming that prices are going through the roof. The other interesting thing, Edwin, is that if you look at the data on home price sales, right, there are two measures. The one is the volume of sales, and the other is what the average price is doing. But I did some work quite recently looking at Mossman, right, which is meant to be another booming suburb. And first point, the volume of sales is half what they were this time last year, right? And the second is that the distribution of prices is all over the place. Now, when you've got a distribution of prices all over the place in a very low volume, you're going to end up with some funny numbers anyway. So, the fact is you've got to look at individual properties, and there are so many stories of property that are actually selling at or below the previous asking price. And then, as you say, you've got the stamp duty and the other costs of the transaction to add in. And, of course, you've got inflation running at, let's say, 1 or 2%. So, each year you're losing a bit anyway. So in real terms, these are all examples where properties are actually cheaper than they were.
Look, that's right. And as I keep on making my mate Tim aware, the CEO of CoreLogic, making him aware that they need to update the hedonic imputation because they're lagging behind, particularly in the North Shore, Martin. You've also got REA with their data, and I was looking at Chatswood West on REA today for various reasons, and I was looking up their data, and they've only got 2 sales. Now, as a matter of fact, there's been something like 6 sales over the last 3 weeks in Chatswood West, and I can tell you now that there have been some 5-bedroom homes there that have currently sold. One sold for 2.1 million. That was on a very big block of land with the 4-car garage, but that hasn't registered on. That hasn't settled as yet, so obviously they're not taking that into account. And there's another one that sold about 4 or 5 weeks ago for 1,600,000 and for 1,700,000. Now what they have as the average for that area for 5-bedroom homes is something like 2.3. Which is miles apart from where it really is at. Look, at the end of the day, Martin, what I always say to people, to friends and whoever I speak to, I say to them, one, don't pay for somebody else's dodgy renovation if you can avoid it. to, if you got time, to just keep on looking. Attend the auctions, attend inspections as many as you can before you make a decision, and get down on your knees and disappear for a few minutes and have a crawl underneath the house. After all, you're given that half an hour to inspect the property. Agents look at me funny when I tell them I need access to the subfloor area, or I need access to the roof. They sort of scratch their heads, and I tell them, well, look, I've got to inspect. I've got to do this. Otherwise, how can I do my job properly if I'm not inspecting the property for my clients as I would expect somebody to inspect the property for me. So things have got to be done. But look, the data, as you know, is delayed. The information given by the selling agents is 50% truthful, at best 60. The reports that are given, that are provided, are only as good as far as you can kick the person to write them, and and so on. So just get out there and get dirty.
It's good advice. And I'll give you one last piece of advice. There is always more property, right? There is no such thing as there's no more property. There is always going to be more property. So, people need to just take a chill pill, just relax, right? And as you say, just, be really cautious and careful. Don't get caught up in the fear of missing out. Don't get caught up in the agent's bullshit, right? It is a whole different ballgame.
Martin, you said bullshit. What's going on? You must be really...
Well, I'm sorry about that, but I've had so many people send me messages over the last couple of weeks being completely frustrated by this whole situation, right? With the disparity between what the media's spinning around and what the real estate sector generally is spinning around and reality, that I decided to call it out. So there you go. I'm sorry if I shocked you, Edwin.
There's a shock to the system. It really is. Next week you're gonna start challenging me on TikTok, Martin.
We'll have a duel on TikTok. Hey, Edwin, well, I appreciate your insights as always. Very important stuff here. And, we make a joke about it, but there are some really serious points in amid this. And we'll do it all again next week, eh?
Looking forward to it, Martin. Looking forward to it.
See you later. Thanks, Edwin.
All the best.